A very good day to all of you. In this video, we will take the remaining part of the poem Ode to West Wind by Shelley. So, in the two previous videos, we have gone through or we have taken the three stanzas of the poem in which the poet has described the power of west wind over land, sky, and water. So, as the poem is in the form of a prayer to the west wind, so in the first three stanzas, the poet describes the power of west wind on the earth and the sky and the sea. So, the last two stanzas, they just stresses his inadequacy and then makes the prayer to lift him above the cares of life. So the in the last two stanza, the poet makes a request to west wind to impart him power like that of west wind, so that he can incorporate that power into his poetry, as to make by making it a medium to bring a reform or a kind of change in the society. Just as he was the believer of a utopia, unborn utopia, and he was a radical thinker, so he just wanted to bring a transformation in the society by his thoughts. So in the last two stanza, he is imploring west wind, he is requesting west wind. So we will read the fourth stanza. If I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear, if I were a swift cloud to fly with thee, a wave to pent beneath thy power and share the impulse of thy strength, only less free than thou, O uncontrollable, if even I were as in my boyhood, and could be the comrade of thy wanderings over heaven, as then when to outstrip thy sky speed scarce seemed a vision, I would never have striven, as thus with thee in prayer, in my sore need, O lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud. I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. A heavy weight of ours has chained and bowed one too like thee, tameless and swift and proud. So, in this stanza, the poet, as I have told you, he is making a request to west wind. So, the poet here establishes a link between his own personality and the personality of the west wind. He is comparing west wind. He recalls his boyhood in this stanza when he was a swift, energetic, and uncontrollable as the west wind. So, and in his boyhood, he was as powerful as west wind. So, he says that in his boyhood he could excel the speed of the west wind and could accompany it on its wanderings over the sky. But now the misfortunes of life, they have crushed him, and he is bleeding on the thorns of life helplessly. He wishes that he were a leaf, a wave, a cloud, so that the west wind could lift him, and he makes a pathetic appeal to the west wind to come to his help. If you read the stanza, oh lift me as a wave, a leaf, a cloud, so it's a pathetic request to west wind. So he says, if I were a dead leaf thou mightest bear. So in these lines the poet prays for strength, because the problems and the ills of life, they have sapped his strength, and hence he is in dire need for prayer. So the poet says that he is in a very helpless condition, he is suffering, and he would never have prayed to West Wind for giving him her power if he had been what he was in his boyhood, because he says that in his boyhood he was very powerful, he was very swift and energetic, just like West Wind, and he could excel West Wind speed. He could excel the speed of West Wind had he been in his childhood. So he were if he were a swift cloud, he would have flown with the west wind, and if he had been as light as the dead leaf, the west wind could have carried him with her. So if he had been a sea wave, he could have got her power, and thus he would have shared the effect of her strength as the waves of the sea do. So he would have been only a little less powerful than the wind was. So in his boyhood day, he was very powerful. So he recalls his boyhood days, and he says that when he was a child, when he was in his boyhood, he was also very swift, and he was also energetic and powerful and mighty. So and he could, as a boy, he thought he could run as fast as the west wind blows. So in his boyhood days, he even thought that he could run at a speed faster than the speed of the west wind. He says that he could excel the speed of west wind. So he regarded that to surpass the speed of west wind in the sky was not an impossible task. So the poet implores the west wind to carry him on her current as a wave, a leaf, and a cloud, because he wants to share the we can say the force, the driving force of west wind. So in the days of his childhood, he was also powerful, and he was as powerful as to be the companion of her wanderings, and he could excel her speed. So he says that if he were what he was in his boyhood, he would never have prayed to the west wind for strength. The comrade of thy wanderings, the comrade means the companion. So if he had been a leaf, a cloud, or a wave, he could feel the impulse of its strength, and he would have never tried to pray to her for power. So there would have been no occasion for this petition for giving him strength if he had retained the dreams and enthusiasm of his boyhood. But now he is weak, and he is in dire, as we can say, sore need of strength. So he is praying to west wind for strength. So why Shelley says here that he's weak because of so many things, because of his family problems, as well as so many pressures by the society. He was expelled from the university, and as well as his family life was also not good, also not settled. So all these problems, they have shattered him. So that's why he is saying that his speed is sapped by time. So Shelley believes in the rebirth of humanity, and he holds that man is essentially good. So, and all the wickedness in the world is caused by the age old conventions and the established authority. So once humanity realizes this truth, then it can shake itself free from the dead conventions, dead customs. So when this happens, the humanity will emerge in all its nobility and glory. So now, when the poet describes all the changes that brought by the west wind on earth, sea, sky, he in the stanza the poet makes a personal prayer to the west wind. So he says that in his youth he was very carefree, and he was very powerful, he was very energetic, but the troubles and the problems and the sufferings of the later years, they have crushed him to the earth, and he is scarcely able to lift his head. So his life has become denuded of its charms, and he is struck upon the thorns which have fallen to his share. That is, the joys of life have faded for him. So only troubles remain to drain off his vitality and zest of time. So therefore, in this stanza, Shelley makes a prayer to west wind to lift him from the earth, and impart him its energy so that he may be able to break through the restraints. And he just wants to become light and very swift, like a leaf, a cloud, and a wave under the wind's impulse. So Shelley's appeal is all the more significant if it is remembered that by nature Shelley was wild, free, tameless, uncontrolled as the west wind itself. So why we can say that we can see there is a note of pessimism in this stanza, because there can be a haunting presentiment of approaching death, and we can also see a sense of loneliness, because there were so many charges they have been inflicted on him, and he was called unfit for the guardianship of his children. So there were so many things that are going uh, simultaneously in his life that shattered him and made him weak. So in the last stanza, the poet, this is also a part of prayer. So the last stanza, make me the lyre even as the forest is. What if my leaves are falling like its own? The tumult of thy mighty harmonies will take from both a deep autumnal tone. Swift though in sadness, be thou spirit fierce, my spirit, be thou me, impetuous one. Drive my dead thoughts over the universe like withered leaves to quicken new birth, and by the incantation of this verse, scatter as from an extinguished hearth, ashes and sparks my words among mankind, be through my lips to unawakened earth, the trumpet of a prophecy, O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So, again in this stanza, the poet establishes a connection between himself and the west wind, and he gives his memories. He gives us his memories of his childhood, that he, as a boy, he was very swift, he was energetic, he was uncontrollable, just like the west wind. But now he has been crushed by the misfortunes of life. So this stanza is very universal in its appeal, because it contains a kind of hope for the whole universe. So the poet again makes a prayer, and this time for poetic inspiration for the good of mankind. So the poet asks the west wind to treat him as a musical instrument on whose strings it can play as it plays in the forest. So, in other words, the poet wants that the wind should blow on him as it blows on the trees in a forest. So, it doesn't matter if he is in the autumn of life. It doesn't matter that he is shattered or he has been crushed by life. So, he means that all his hopes and joys are gone, and his life has become dull and barren. He has lost the joy, energy, and enthusiasm of youth. So, addressing the west wind, the poet says that if it blows on the forest and on him, the music that it produces will be sober and subdued, not at all boisterous, because both of them are passing through autumn. So the poet wishes to become identified with the fierce and swift west wind. He appeals to it to spread his thoughts in the world so that they may herald the birth of a new era. His thoughts do not have their former fire, but still his thoughts, they are capable of inspiring men. Just as ashes and sparks, they fly in all the direction, and they fly in the direction from a hearth where the fire has not yet completely gone out. Similarly, the poet wants his words to be scattered far and wide through his song. He wishes the west wind to act as his mouthpiece for the utterance of his prophecy, regarding the advent of a golden age on earth. So, just as autumn is followed by winter, winter is followed in a natural course by spring. Similarly, this era of evils and miseries will soon be followed by an era of perfect happiness. There should be love, there would be love, beauty, and society also undergoes such kind of cyclical changes. So, the poet says that no state is permanent, and thus the days of regeneration are not far off. Here the line, if winter comes can spring be far behind. So the last line of the poem, it is very optimistic in it gives us a very optimistic note, and it is optimistic in tone. So the poet, when he says that what if my leaves are falling, so what does it matter if his youth is declining? So it's a very strange feeling, because Shelley was, at that time when he wrote the poem, he was only 26, and he's saying that what if my leaves are falling. So it's a very a strange kind of thing. So these lines, they express Shelley's optimism regarding the future of mankind, that howsoever the scene, howsoever is very bleak and very dark, and he was getting very much pessimistic, but still he is having a kind of hope, and he thinks that for sure west wind will impart him the power, with the help of which he will be able to bring a change in the society. So the final stanza, it includes the whole universe in its sweep, and he appeals to Westwind to treat him as a lyre and to blow on him as it blows on the forest. So the west wind blowing on him and on the forest, it will produce a very sad but sweet music. So he addresses west wind as spirit fierce, impetuous one. So he appeals to it to become one with him and to scatter his dead thoughts over the universe, in order that these thoughts it may bring about a new period in human history. So he would like the west wind to broadcast over the whole world his prophecy. So what is the prophecy of Shelley? So he gives us a very optimistic prophecy, his belief in the perfectibility of human nature and his belief in the golden age of mankind. He says that if winter comes, can spring be far behind. So this is, the line is very optimistic. So if we talk about the some of the main characteristic of the poem, we can see that we can see a kind of lyrical excellence in this poem, and as we all know that he is accepted as a prince among all the English lyricists, and he opens up his heart to the readers and touches the heart of his listeners with his poetry. And he very beautifully he has treated nature, and in the most attractive elements in his poetry. So he uses nature as the prime inspiration for whatever he writes. And another, we can also see a kind of idealism in the poetry, because he is prompted by a zeal of reform, and he just want to bring a kind of change in the society, and the poem sounds a prophetic attitude. So this unhappy and far too imperfect world is to be transformed into a blessed land of freedom, love, and absolute joy. Secondly, another feature that we can trace in this poem is melancholy and despondence. So, when he says that his days are failing, and another he says, so this is also a prominent feature of his poetry, and the poem is full of self pity. So it's an inevitable reaction of lack of expectation with reality. So the poem, sometime he becomes too delicate and sensitive. So all these accounts for the feel and the note of escapism. Sometimes we find a kind of escapism in his poetry, and it is also a quality of romantic poetry. So the poem, he in West Wind, it's a kind of it's an ode, and it is in the form of prayer, in which he prays West Wind to lift him up from the thorns of life. So we have completed the poem today, West Wind. You will read the poem, and I hope you all have got the poem. Thank you.